Wow, so I think there's something going there.
Yes, well, we've got something going. Me and Alice, don't worry. Okay, Alice, don't tell Art, but I'll meet you tonight. Okay, Alice? Right, keep it quiet, though, Alice. See you, Alice. Lots of love. Don't tell Art, though.
Well, I think you can see that Paul and I had a pretty good relationship. And my dear wife, who unfortunately passed away of breast cancer at age 46, but she did get to meet Paul, and I got to kid it. But when I got back home, I didn't send, I had the engineers cut that part out about Alice, but I had them put onto a cassette the message to Margaret Ann Snyder. And without a note or anything, I had it sent to Jim Snyder. About a week later, I got a call from Jim. He said, we had a babysitter last night. I took the babysitter home. When I came back, I went by Margaret Ann's room, and I thought I heard something. I pushed the door open, and she was laying there with the tape recorder by her ear. And she looked up at me, and she said, he said my name. He said my name. Folks, that saved my career. And finally, if you remember, you young people don't, but in the old days, we didn't have ramps at airports. We had stairs that came out of the fuselage of the plane. And you walked up the steps, and there was a platform at the top where you could stand and wave to those you were saying goodbye to, and then go into the plane. Well, the Beatles, you can hear them yelling, goodbye, Art, as this cut as they're leaving.
The Beatles are entering the plane as the fans stand on the concourse above, screaming and yelling and waving goodbye, as you hear them in the background, because the Beatles are soon to depart for England, ending this month-long American-Canadian tour. A most fabulously successful tour. More than $1 million the Beatles have collected on this tour, as well as thousands upon thousands of fans with that familiar scream and chant.
And that was the departure of the Beatles. They did come back the next year. Larry Kane covered that tour also. He, to my knowledge, was the only reporter to cover both tours. Of all the five of us that covered, Larry did cover the next one. I don't think I know I didn't, and I don't think the others did. I know Ivor Davis didn't. It was probably the most difficult assignment I ever had. You know, I had the privilege of traveling with great people like Jack Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, Barry Goldwater, great senator from Illinois, Everett Dirksen, and other many dignitaries, Hubert Humphrey, vice president, who ran for president, was defeated. But nothing ever equaled what it was like trying to cover the Beatles. And, you know, even traveling with a great person like Martin Luther King, the people maybe wanted autographs, but they certainly didn't throw things at him. And fortunately, I know he was assassinated, a tragic event. But you know, the Beatles were just a phenomenon that nothing has come along since, before or since, and I don't know that it ever will. But that was the way it was. And the favorite expression from, as I talk to young women today, I say, you go home and tell your grandmother I heard her screaming at a baby. And the favorite expression of mothers coming up to us, wanting to meet a beetle, and I would say, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. And then came this favorite expression, no, you don't understand. I want to make them happy. That was very common that we experienced all throughout the tour. Now, I'll bet you have some questions.
How about that? Give me an extra one if you have.
Say your
Yeah,
name.
but hold on 1 second, all right?
Say your name.
Can, as it's,
Oh.
Go.
can you hear me? Okay. This is Cheryl Echeverria, and I have a question. Do you still keep in touch with either Ringo or Paul?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you keep in touch with either Ringo or Paul?
No, I wish I could. Larry Kane and I both have tried to reach them. When Ringo came to Albuquerque to perform at a casino, a Native American casino in the city, even our newspaper record, the Albuquerque Journal, couldn't get me in. And they couldn't get in either. However, our governor, Bill Richardson, who is a good friend of mine and still is a good friend of mine and was at that time, he got in. I didn't know that he was even going to the performance, or I would have gone